So I've come to a realization that all of the times that I've given love, I didn't know that I was depleting myself. And what I mean by that is like I didn't know that the same, chakras of the body that I used to use to love was the same chakras that I used to, do my music, go live, do my daily task. And that's why I'm understanding why my love journey has been so rocky in a sense. It's because, obviously we still learn ourselves each and every day, but I'm knowing exactly why. Like, it was imbalanced. And it's not to, be down on myself or things of that nature. We should learn something new every day. That's the beauty. We get the opportunity to learn something new every day. But what I'm saying is I didn't know that I was depleting myself. I didn't know that, I was thinking that I was able to, love and still be creative and still have the energy to be creative to the max and all that stuff while giving love and, sharing. And little did I know I was depleting myself. But then when I understood that, hey, okay, I don't have no energy to do the things that I want to do now, so then I would withdraw to then work on my music endeavors and, my creative endeavors. But then that's when things actually got somewhat worse, because then now the love in the relationship, it seemed like I'm pushing away or that I'm not wanting love or like get away from me type energy. But it never was that. It was just the fact of I wasn't overstanding or having my equal balance with how I love. I wasn't used to self-love. I was never used to self-love. I was always so used to just, giving. And, some people just know how to take. But I'm not a taker. So even when I, are giving money, let's just say giving some money, I'm always feeling like, hey, like, is this genuine or should I take it? Or like, I'm just going to pay them back, stuff like that. But I was always such a giver that I didn't know that I was like depleting my own self. I didn't have a true balance of what love was. I didn't know what self-love was. And what I'm understanding is like I practice self-love, like when I will make my music and like I said, go live and be creative. I practiced it, but I didn't understand it like for real. I didn't. And that's why I know, like, up to this point in my life, how I'm supposed to love, and it's supposed to always, at this point, stem to somewhat of self-love. You see what I'm saying? So it's been a difficult journey in the sense of like the ups and downs and feeling like, like you're just wrong, like, like I'm just a bad person. Sometimes it feels like that because I've understood that when I have withdrew my love, that it hurt other people. But my intentions was not to hurt the other person. My intentions was always to gain my own self-love again and back. Because this is where it gets difficult. I would give my love, right? But then others, they wouldn't take that love and like cultivate it and make it like a creative project or, turn it into something beautiful. It wasn't that. Most of the time, it was just spread, you know, giving love to others. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was the children or the neighbors or whoever it was, you know, it was like the love that I gave, they would then give that love to the next person. And that's a beautiful thing, you know, spread the love, right? But then when it came down for me wanting that same love back, me needing that love back, it was already gone. It was already floating in the atmosphere. It was already gone. That person gave it to another person, and that person gave it to another person. It already, you know, passed down. But then that's where I found my spirituality. That's where I had to understand that, hold on, there's a thing called self-love. And there's a thing called, you know, Jah. There's a thing called spirituality, you know, where you can, you know, where you get your source, you know, from that type of love. But I wasn't always like that, you know, and still up to this day, I'm still learning it to the point where I start to see situations and, you know, the way life goes. I said hi. Did I say hi? I'm sorry. Hey, my fault. But I know who you are too, by the way. I know you're on a fake page. But anyways, I understand that at this point in my life that when I give love, it really has to be balanced. It really has to truly be balanced in the sense of, like, when I'm giving the love, turn the love into a creative project or reciprocate it back. You see what I'm saying? I'm not telling people, you know, what to do with the love that I give, because it's my choice. But at the same time, when I need love, why should I have to fight for it back? You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm understanding, that I've had to fight for my love back, or like be super creative and go super deep into spirituality to cultivate that love, just to give it back to myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, everyone goes through their journeys. But I'm understanding that it made a lot of things way more difficult, you know, in just the love aspects of that, of what I experienced. It made even me make me feel like I was wrong, and it hurt other people. And then I'm sure it made others feel like they did something wrong to me, or like I was mad at them, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But that was never the case. That was never the case. It was just the fact that I was always thinking that I was able to love, but still like feel like I can still do normal stuff. But when you don't have your chakras aligned, when you're not aligned, you know, when you're misaligned. Okay, when you're aligned, you know when you're misaligned. That's basically what I'm saying. So I can feel so aligned, right? But then when I'm misaligned, I'm knowing exactly why. And that's the main reason. You know, I'm knowing like, hey, okay, if I want to make music, if I want to make music, if I want to go exercise today, if I want to go for a long walk, I'm gonna need that energy. I'm gonna need, you know, certain parts of my body to do that, right? But if I'm not doing it correctly or balancing it, then it becomes like detrimental to not just me. It becomes detrimental to the overall vibration around me. And I didn't always understand that. I was just thinking that, you know, you can love and then still go do whatever you need to do. And then start wondering why I feel like that, why I don't feel aligned anymore. And it was because it wasn't properly balanced. You see what I'm saying? That's no one's fault. That's no one's fault. I'm basically like, just venting right now, because everything's a learning aspect. We should learn every day from the stuff that we do. You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't learning from your mistakes, then what you doing? So I'm just knowing that, when it comes down to loving properly and balancing, yourself, you need to have a true balance, especially in the times that we live in. You cannot just be out here giving your love to anybody and then not giving yourself that love, because it becomes imbalance. You see what I'm saying? And then especially if you're giving your love to someone else and then they just give to other people, it's supposed to be a mirror. You're supposed to be able to rely on your partner, or, you know, for that love back when you need it. And that's where I went wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Only 7 levels.
Say that again?
Only 7 levels over there, right?
Yeah, on that road.
I'll be fine for this purpose.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's how it's been, you know what I'm saying? But now I know. Now I know, like, if I'm making music, if I'm, you know, with the community, if I'm doing any of that stuff, it stems from the same type of vibration, energy, you know, chakras. If I was to love, you see what I'm saying? And now I know that. You know, now I truly know that. And it took, you know, it took heartbreak. It did. I'm not gonna lie. It took heartbreak. It took trials. It took heartbreak. You know, but I also know, like, I learned something. You know what I'm saying? I learned something. I didn't understand what I was doing to myself. I was basically, like, you know, like depleting myself, like I said, thinking that I can give love, but then, like, still, and don't get it twisted, I still did. Like, don't get it twisted, I still was able to be creative, and even when I felt depleted, you know, that's like a superpower, if you want to call it. But they definitely turned the music up, didn't they? But anyways, you know, I understand that I've learned what I need to learn to then, you know, share it with the collective. You know what I'm saying? To share it with you guys. You know, I don't see it as a negative. I don't see it as a negative at all. I see it as, hey, I went through the certain trials to then share it, so then others won't have to go through it. You see what I'm saying? Or not just not go through it, but just learn from my mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Or not even mistakes, because I don't feel like it's a really mistake. Everything's just a learning lesson. You dig? Everything is just a learning lesson, and it's for the better of, you know, it's for the betterment. You know, I don't know if y'all saw that, but that random guy just gave me a hug. Like, you know, he feels the vibration on what I'm speaking on. I don't know that guy. He just gave me a random hug and said, I hope you find your purpose in life. I said, I appreciate that, bro. You know, because everything is a vibration frequency. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't always understand that when I was, you know, giving love. I didn't understand that the love that I was giving was a vibration frequency. I did, but not to the extent that I know now. You see what I'm saying? It took for me to be depleted of the love, and then wanting that same love back, and then it's nowhere to be found. That's what it took. It took for me to be depleted. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one that has went through, you know, such things. I'm not the only one that went through such things. Everyone goes through, you know, different things. But at the same time, we don't have to go through the same things once you know better. You see what I'm saying? And now I just know better to knowing how to balance myself, and to, you know, speak up for myself, and to say no, or to say yes. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, saying yes to self-love. Say, you know what, I'm finding my balance today. You know, or knowing also, let me truly say this, is I value when love is put into creativity very, very much. So say, you know, I'm giving love, and I'm giving love, right? Say you giving love, and then you find out a week later that love that you gave became like a whole movie. And now you get to look at that movie and be like, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm gonna reverse it, because I'm not the only one out here giving love, right? Everyone gives their love. If someone is giving me their love, I'm turning it into music. If someone gives me their love, I'm turning it into something creative. I'm not sitting back giving it to somebody else. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at? Like, I'm not sitting back giving it to nobody else. I'm not sitting back, just sharing it with, with random people. No, that's not what I'm doing. What I do is I automatically first go make music, go journal, go draw. I automatically go to creative mode when giving love and giving love. And that is why I'm understanding where I always looked at others to love the same way I did. And then when it wasn't done the same way, it was somewhat like hurt my feelings. Like, I've noticed that about myself. I noticed like I'm giving love, but then the person goes out into the world and then gives the love. But then I would be butthurt internal, but then in reality, that wasn't wrong. It was nothing wrong with that, because that children probably needed a hug. That children needed that love. That person probably needed that love. You see what I'm saying? It's not that it was wrong. It was just the times when I needed the love back. I wasn't that child. I wasn't that person in the world that, that person could give it to that day. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I became like, okay, I need to find a balance, because when I'm depleted, what happens? You see what I'm saying? But then I also understood that's where the Most High comes in. That's where Jah comes in. That's where you got to push yourself. That's when you have to understand, like, hey, what are you doing? Find your balance. That's when you kind of wake up. When you get depleted, when you're so tired. Let's just speak about, let's say somebody's conditioning for the NBA. And they conditioning. And then all of a sudden they just stop. And now it's game day. You probably gonna be depleted because you thought that you can go hard and then just stop and then go hard again. No, that's not how it works. That's kind of a bad analogy, but I understand that when it comes down to finding a balance, it has to happen. At least it has to happen. It should happen early, if not before. But for me, it happened at the end. It happened when I was fully depleted and like searching for it in the wrong areas and thinking that it was okay. You see? How y'all doing? But I mean, we all should learn something new every day. I'm not gonna sit here and be, mad about nothing. It's more about, I'm glad that I learned from their experiences. He said hello. He said, what is this about? This is about how practicing self-love. That's what this is about. When you practice self-love, you know that when you need that love back, you know where to get it from. You know how to go get it, And I wasn't that person. I didn't know what self-love was. Like I said, I practiced self-love. When I would make my beats and make my music and stuff like that, I was practicing it. But I didn't truly, I didn't really know what self-love was. I didn't know that self-love was like simply me needing to ground myself 4 or 5 times a day. I didn't know that's what I needed for myself. I didn't know that was a form of self-love until I started to reap the benefits from it. Instead, I started to feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like a superhero. You know what I'm saying? For grounding myself every day. The other day, I did a front flip for the first time in my life because I was grounding myself for 3 weeks straight. Like, not a back flip, a front flip. And I'm like, how did this happen? How am I doing a front flip and I'm 30 years old, And I'm sitting there like, it's because I'm knowing what self-love looks like. I know what it is now, And I wasn't practicing these things. I was giving my love when I didn't know what self-love was. And it's not to the ones that I gave love to. That's not what this message is about. It's not pointing the finger at where I needed love and it wasn't given back how I wanted. No, it was a fact of that I shouldn't be loving if I didn't know what self-love was. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't be, and that's really the message. That's the message to, for everyone. You shouldn't be loving if you don't know what self-love is. I wasn't taught self-love. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. I should have learned this from my mom. And sometimes we think self-love is like that time we get to break and chill, have a smoke and a drink. That's not self-love. Yeah, I even thought that was self-love at one point. That is not self-love. That's just vices or things that you like to, not even like to do. That's just something that you do, but that's not true self-love. And what I was saying was, like, from my mom, like, she always gave. She gave anyone, the shirt off her back, like she'll give her last. But then it always came around, it was like, she always be like sad and upset when she didn't get that same love back, or when she needed help, no one was there for her. And I'm noticing, like, he said, speak more slowly. Okay. So I'm gonna speak about my mom. Growing up, I always saw my mom be upset when others couldn't help her out the ways that she helped them out. And it was always a constant thing. Like, I would always see her upset and crying because she gave this person something or helped them out when she didn't really, she didn't really have it like that, whether it was money or whether it was a ride or whether it was just food, whatever it was, she would give. But then when she needed something, anything, it was like crickets. You see what I'm saying? But then I'm also knowing that that was the point that, she gained her own self-love, but also through the Most High, through her spirituality, however, some way. I always, sometimes when she was upset and sad, she would end up playing her, her gospel music and her happy songs, her songs that she liked. And that was her form of self-love. But what I'm also understanding is we shouldn't keep depleting ourselves. Like, I have learned from that in my life now. Officially. I officially learned, like, okay, I know what self-love is now. So properly, to a certain degree, like mentally, I know what self-love is now. Have I physically done it all yet? No. Because having self-love can be imbalanced too. Excuse me. Like right now, this is not considered my self-love. My self-love today was relaxing today. Not doing too much. That was my self-love today. Now, I'm giving the love by sharing the message, you know what I'm saying? Having a true balance. But then it also gets reciprocated back, the love that I'm giving to you guys, because I watch my videos, and after it uploads, I'm happy that it uploads. Because last night, the video that I posted last night, I thought it wasn't going to upload because it was so choppy. But it ended up uploading today, and I was like, yes, I was happy. Because I thought that it didn't upload. But that's what I'm saying about the love gets reciprocated back. That's what I've learned, that through the YouTube, I'm able to have self-love, but then get the love back. You see? And that's why I love it so much. What's up, y'all? I thank y'all for tapping into the live. I'm really just out here. See what I'm saying? I'm just out here. We out here. Me and my spirit team. We out here. And, it's supposed to be a nice day tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice, warmer day tomorrow, so it's not that cold tonight. So it's pretty chill out here, even though I got on gloves and all this stuff. It may be cold to other people, but I've been out here, so it ain't that cold to me. And I used to. He said, you have to become Muslim. Why do you say so? That's very interesting, because I thought about it a couple of times, actually. When I went to New York, I seen a couple of people, doing their Muslim thing, and I was like, this is very a disciplined type of, religion, but I'm not religious. I'm just very spiritual, but also I understand, religions. I understand religions and I understand spirituality. I just have more of a connection with the cosmos, my ancestors, and the collective energy. I'm more of like a psychic type of medium type of thing, intuition, type of vibe, and especially in nature. That's my number one thing. Is my spirituality stems from nature. I have to be outside. It's I don't even know how to explain it. I don't think it's nothing to really explain. Like, it's most, mystics, people like I, they're outside because it goes hand in hand with their spirituality. And the church, that's why, I believe, things like the church, it needs to be outside. We need to make a pavilion church. That's why the New Earth Zion Wellness Temple is going to be like pavilion type vibes. It's going to be open space, so like it's always a connection. You don't never feel that you don't have a connection with the Most High. You feel that the Most High is right there with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have nothing, no ceiling over your head. And that's what I always believe. Like, I always felt like that's how certain people, blessings didn't always happen fully because they didn't step outside and pray in the grass. You know what I'm saying? I saw my mom pray a lot, and pray, and I'm not just my mom, but just people. We pray a lot, and then be mad when your stuff don't go through, your manifestations don't go through. But are you manifested correctly? Are you praying correctly? Why you don't pray outside? Why don't teach y'all? Why don't teach people to? Why don't the pastors in the church teach the people to pray in the grass and outside? Why they want to pray at the pulpit, but then right after church go outside and have a picnic or a barbecue? If anything, do the opposite. Have church outside and then go eat inside. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a different type of vibration frequency. How are you today? I'm actually today now, since it's a new day, I'm great. It's a new day. It's past 12 o'clock over here. So I'm having a great day so far. Yesterday, quote unquote, just like an hour ago, I was very much in my head because, like I said, I was being very still today. And sometimes when I'm like not outside, it's not good for my mind. I get inspiration from just the air, like the weather, the cold, the trees. Like, I get inspiration from just the air, just outside, period. So I wasn't feeling the best. I was just more feeling like stuck, just in my mind. But once I stepped outside, I was perfectly fine. You see what I'm saying? How are you? I know that this, the New Earth Zion Wellness Temple, there's going to be multiple. There's going to be multiple. It has to be. It has to be multiple. It has to. It has to be multiple because I'm knowing that that's good. I'm glad you are good today. That's good. Where you from? Where you watching me from? I'm glad you're having a good day. I'm sending you peace, love, and light. I'm sending you blessings because, like I said, like, when I am able to do my self-love, I'm able to give the self-love. You see, but before, I wasn't doing my self-love properly, but I was still giving the love. So I was always depleting myself. Saudi Arabia, hey, I love Saudi Arabia. I want to go there one day. Well, I can't say I love it. I ain't been there yet, but I know it has a lot of like sightseeing. I know it's very nice over there. You know, I want to travel overseas. I've never been overseas. I've only been on the East Coast of America, really. So today I've been so much nonsense to stupidity on YouTube Live, and now I see yours. Makes me a lot more sense. Beautiful message. I appreciate that. Maybe I should have went live earlier, but around this time is when I always get the most, the best messages, when like the world is more, let's be honest, at this time people are awake, but some people are asleep, here in America, so they went to sleep early. But I appreciate the love, and I'm glad that I'm able to, bring this to YouTube. I'm glad that I'm able to bring the positivity to YouTube, you know what I'm saying? And I want to keep it that way. I am going to keep it that way, because like I said, if you go look at my last videos, I'm building a New Earth Zion Wellness Temple, and it starts with us. So in order for that to even be built, I have to be on a certain frequency vibration to accept it, you see? So not saying that I'm not naturally this way. I am naturally this way. I am a spiritual being. I can talk for hours and, and just go deep into the, but I'm also knowing, like, hold on, like, if I want a wellness temple, that the message has to be there. From Cuba, hey, what's up from Cuba? I ain't never been to Cuba, not yet. Never say never. Oh, you was born in Cuba. Okay, you was born in Cuba. Okay. Well, I'm tripping. I thought you were the same person. Okay, no. Other person from Saudi Arabia. Brian, you're from Cuba. Okay, that's what's up. Shout out to Cuba. Shout out to Saudi Arabia in the building. I'm all the way in America, and I'm glad that y'all able to hear me. Because look, I'm out here. It's a chill night where I'm at. It's pretty chill. It's pretty chill outside too, a little. But I'm okay. I'm okay. Because the way that I'm living right now, I'm outside and I'm knowing that that's exactly why you guys were drawn to my channel. It took for me to step outside of the box for collective to, to find my soul tribe for the wellness temple. So I'm knowing, like, when I'm behind closed doors or when I'm just doing my music, that's only a certain audience. But when I step outside, and when I step outside of my comfort zone, and when I step outside of the box, that also brings a certain audience and a certain message. Want to learn Muslim? I mean, why not? Yeah, I encourage. Yeah, I do. I want to learn it all. I know Malcolm X learned. He was a Muslim. I know that. Who else was a Muslim? Obviously, I think Elijah Muhammad. A lot of different. Major people. They practice. Muslim. I'm a Rasta. I'm Rastafari. But I'm not your typical Rasta. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Rasta that participates in the cosmos, that practices astrology and teaches astrology. You know what I'm saying? I don't know all the, the Rastas that go along those lines, but yeah. But honestly, I already kind of was getting into the Muslim wave a little bit, just like you said, learning it, like learning what's the language? What's the language? I forget what's the language y'all speak. So I understand you a little bit. Oh, I know, it's probably because I'm speaking too fast, and I'm American. I appreciate y'all being here though, and I appreciate you trying, because maybe I can help. I don't know if y'all speak good English. Yes, Yes, I was already looking up how to learn that. Okay, so do you guys know who Haile Selassie is? He was the emperor of Ethiopia. Do y'all know who that is? Haile Selassie the first. He was the last emperor of Ethiopia in 1981 or something like that. That's when he passed away, I think. Or that's when, yeah. Do y'all know who he is? Let me know. But the thing about Haile Selassie the first, is that he knew that he held a certain vibration frequency, but he didn't talk about it. Like, he didn't like say like, I'm on this vibration and I'm on, I'm here to teach this. He just did it, because he was already put in position when he was like 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to tell the people who he was or what his mission was. He was given a position. He was given a position, and everyone already knew his position. You see, that's the difference between, Haile Selassie and me, is I'm having to share who I am so people can understand, okay, I'm not just a regular, I have to explain like basically what I practice and what I do and who I am. He didn't have to in his country. He said, not only was I born in Cuba, I live in Cuba. That's why I ask you to speak more slowly. English is not my native language. I only speak Spanish and a little English. I got you. I'll slow down a little bit. Maybe you can learn from my my English. I want to sit down, but I also don't want to sit down. I want to stand up because I just want to be, I just want to stand up. I've been sitting down for like all day. I've been sitting down all day, pretty much. Like I said, I was resting today, so I've been sitting down all day. But I'll sit down for you. I'll sit down for you. That better? But is that better? What I was saying was Haile Selassie, he was put in positions. He was put in a position, in multiple positions, like I said, as a teenager, as a young adult, to lead his people. And everyone knew who he was because, like I said, he was an emperor of Ethiopia. But then, his family, his father, his uncles, and things of that nature was already, had their position in the culture, right? So when it came down to him to step into position, it was easy for him to do it. Everyone knew what he was doing, what he stood for, what he represented. And that's why when it comes down to Rastafari, it's his name, Rastafari. Rastafari is Rastafari. And that is his name. But when he became emperor, the people gave him a new name. They gave him a new name. Haile Selassie. They gave him a new name. He said, our prophet Abraham calls his people to Islam 5,000 years ago. And see, I'm glad that you're telling me about Abraham, because I was looking up some stuff about Abraham not too long ago. I'm telling you the truth. I was looking up some stuff about Abraham, along with Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. I was looking up a documentary about Malcolm X and what he studied and stuff of that nature. So I'm in tune a little bit with the Muslim culture. I just haven't fully, said I wanted to practice it or things of that nature. But I mean, hey, maybe I will, because maybe I'll talk less. I don't know. But what I'm saying is just I can only be myself right now. But I know that there's a lot of changes that's happening within me too. He said, "You don't turn your back on Allah." That's right. Never. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, I even am interested in Hinduism. I'm even interested in Buddhism. That's what I'm saying. Like, do y'all know about Krishna and Shavi? Do you? Because if you know about Krishna, you know about Shavi. That's like, it's just different, religions and different cultures. He said, "We pulling up and we gonna slide you." Okay. He said, Krishna is, I don't know. You seen? I didn't know. I didn't know that's what it was. And you're funny. And you're funny because whoever you see, I hope y'all seen this in the live. I hope y'all seen this in the live, because first of all, I'm not gonna entertain nonsense, but do it look like I'm scared? See, that's the thing about individuals. Like, I am not scared. You see what I'm saying? And that's okay. You see, that's the number one thing that they show in movies is fear. And that's why everyone be thinking that, oh, death is what it is. You see what I'm saying? And people really be thinking like, death is the most tragic thing. Death is not the most tragic thing. You want to know why? Being scared to die is the most tragic thing. I'm not scared to die because why? There's no such thing as death. You do not die. There's no such thing. You do not die. You transcend. Your flesh dies, but guess what? You have a soul. Well, everyone don't have a soul. I have a soul. So, you see what I'm saying? I have a soul, so it is what it is. Like I said, when I came down from, wherever I came from, I knew that there was a mission. You see what I'm saying? I knew that there was a mission. I knew that I was going to fulfill the mission. And I also knew that I'm fearless. And to be honest, why am I even entertaining this? Why am I even entertaining you? Just because I'm bored, right? Yeah, why am I even entertaining this person? Anyways, I don't know why I was entertaining that person for a second. Like, it's so low vibrational. Why are people so low vibrational and so negative? It's actually sad. It's very sad. But I also understand that this is the time that we live in. We live in a time where others are on the other side of the screen and they're actually just lonely. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones that's scared. But I'm not. What is there to be scared of? What is there really to be scared of, bro? I'm just saying. I didn't come in this life to be fearful. Neither should you. Zine? But anyways, back to Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, things of that nature. It's very true. It's very true when it comes down to, the different cultures that they practice. I definitely saw how, they would shift, they shift their culture. When it came down to when they learned about what they learned, they taught their collective too. And that's what we all should be doing. You see what I'm saying? We all should get to the point where whatever we learn, we should teach the collective. And that's all that they did. So if I was, who I'm talking to, what was his name? Was it Brian? If I was to learn Muslim, learn, the religion, I'm knowing that whatever I'm learning, I'm going to have to teach it. You see? It's plain and simple. I'm going to have to teach it. So that's all that it is, put it into the wellness temple as well. I'm not going to just say, oh, I'm Rastafari. I want people to be open in this wellness temple. I want others to feel like, hey, I came here and, I want others to know like they came to my temple and got a glimpse of a little bit of everything and was accepted. You see? So you're saying that fear is unnecessary? It depends. It depends. It really depends. In my situation, whatever that person was talking about, yeah, because if someone was saying that they about to unalive me, right? I'm just sitting here. You see what I'm saying? So there's no point of me being scared if someone is about to unalive me right now. Like, there's no point of me being scared sitting here. But it would be different if someone didn't tell me, and then I just got, I was just being watched and like suspicious, and it was like, oh, why is someone following me around the corner, stuff like that. That's when it's just like, oh, I'm getting a little nervous. This person followed me around the corner 3 times. What's about to happen? You seen? But if someone literally saying, oh, you're on live and I'm about to unalive you, well, okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where the fear is like, what's the point of me being scared? But, and yes, you should be fearless. You should be. You want to know why? Because I understand that it's a transition. And once you start to understand that it's a transition, you'll know the same thing too. They show us in movies. How they show you in movies how people transcend. How they show you transition, transition. How they show you? They show you it's on the hospital bed. They show you it's in the back of the ambulance. However, right down the street, however they tend to do some stuff, right? However, but in reality, is that how it happens? No. Let's be honest. The way people die in movies is probably 15% on how people really die. What are your interests in life? Raising the consciousness of humanity. That is one of my interests in life, is raising the consciousness of humanity. My other interest is leaving something tangible, like a wellness temple. And also my interests, that's more like goals, I guess, but my interests, nutrition, health, nutrition, exercise, that's my interest, music. I'm starting to get more into reading, but I mean like reading sacred texts. I don't like reading nothing that ain't interesting, you know what I'm saying, that I'm not into. So that's why I like reading sacred texts. That's some of my interests. What about yours? I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm sure you probably like certain sports. I like basketball. I used to like basketball. I mean, I still like basketball. I like watching basketball, but I just know that it's really a game. Like, basketball is really like a gamble. They basically like, it's basically how can you say it? Basketball is basically like what they call it? What is it called? What is it called? Rigged. That's what they say. Sometimes they say it's rigged, like but it's not 100% rigged. But I can see why people say that because them refs